Oh boy, this can't be good. What's up guys, it's me Zero Kitsune, and today let's talk about Patreon, the darling of the indie scene and the savior to many YouTube channels over the past year and a half or 2 years. Man, they have got everyone running scared right now. Okay, so what did they do? Well, on October 17th, Patreon made some changes to their guidelines regarding adult content, and I strongly recommend you read them, not just the new one, but also the old one. I'll have a link to a Lewd Gamer article that actually shows both of them, because honestly, after reading both guidelines back to back, they really seem like the new one's just saying what the old one said, with more words. Though in the new one, they do go out of their way to point out fetish content such as incest, necrophilia, or other things that could be hard to distinguish from non-consensual sex, which I'm assuming they're talking about animal sex. So that's to all you furries out there, I assume. So the guidelines did get a bit stricter, but not nearly as much as some people are making it out to be. It's more the actions from Patreon that are actually making people a little bit more worried nowadays. But we'll talk about that in a moment, because really quick, I want to talk about what may have caused this. Now, I've had some conversations with some people, and they kind of believe that it may have been an increase in traffic to Patreon that has made them kind of try to clamp down on some of the things that they may have ignored before, you know, with the whole YouTube adpocalypse pushing a lot of people from the traditional ad-based revenue and more into crowdfunding sources. But a more important reason might be that PayPal could possibly be pressuring Patreon to make these changes, which is both surprising and not surprising, as PayPal and other large banks have shown in the past to have a certain bias towards sexual content. I will have yet another link in the description, which is an interesting news article on this subject. Not completely applicable, but it's an interesting read, so I recommend you do so. But yeah, this is surprising as PayPal joined Patreon back in 2014, and this was still apparent, they just didn't do anything about it until now. So this could have been caused by an increase in traffic, which would result in an increase in visibility of Patreon as a whole, or it could be caused because of PayPal finally deciding to step in and make their stance a little bit more reinforced, or it could be a combination of both. Either way, I just want to say that people claiming that just straight up SJWs have caused this, I'd like to quote Philip DeFranco and say, pick your swings. Much like how, despite what modern day feminism says, not everything is the cause of the patriarchy, not every case of censorship is a cause of SJWs. But now let's actually talk of the results of those changes in the guidelines. And as one would expect, many adult creators have been suspended from the service, creating not only a scary situation for the people who want to support these creations in order for them to be created, but also the creators themselves who may or may not depend on this money for their livelihood. But in Patreon's defense, they have not outright removed anyone as of yet, or I do not know of anyone being flat out removed from the service as of yet. They have simply suspended accounts, and they are informing people who have broken their rules of what they can change to quickly get back on the service, and numerous people have, after mysteriously disappearing, have just popped back up after making some changes. I think Patreon as a whole knows their demographic, and they know the population of people who are safe for work versus the population of people who are not safe for work, and they know what percentage of their income comes from what. I'm not saying that around 50% of their income could be coming from NSFW creators who could be in violation of their terms and guidelines. I'm not saying that it could be a whopping 90%. And some people have made that claim. I'm just saying that it is enough that I think Patreon, from a financial standpoint, wants to at least try to keep those people on the service. But from there, let's just step into the realm of what my exact opinion on this situation is. And as far as I'm concerned, where I sit, it's kinda in the middle. On one hand, when I first learned about this situation, I instantaneously locked on to the information that Patreon was actually working with its creators to make sure that their pages could return, telling them to alter their banners, telling them to remove certain information, and telling them to put any sort of adult content behind the paywall in order to get them back on the service. And some people might brush that under the rug while looking at the broader situation, But comparing that to the likes of Twitter or YouTube, where a suspension or even a ban is just met with pretty much silence from the company itself, I see that as something that should be noted. But on the other hand, this wouldn't be the first example of a website screwing over a substantial amount of its user base for less than clear reasons. And more worryingly is the question of how much control PayPal has over Patreon and how far Patreon has to bend in order to maintain PayPal as a part of their service. Just food for thought, because if we're all being honest here, not many people are willing to put their credit card information on PayPal to support creators. But with that said, the way I see it, creators should keep on doing what they're doing, but they should be vigilant and be able to adapt. Be able to make the sort of changes you need to make in order to stay on Patreon, but at the same time always be looking for a service that can do what you need from Patreon better. This sort of industry is very dynamic and volatile, so getting comfortable anywhere is a pretty dangerous thing to do. And that seems to be a running theme on the internet nowadays, which is not a bad thing. Competition is the key for any of these larger businesses to actually do what their consumers want them to do. Just take my problem with streaming. Initially I wanted to stream things like Sengoku Rants, but I thought I'd be limited to more safe for work games because, you know, Twitch is the way Twitch is. But after looking around for, I'll admit, a couple of weeks, I was able to find Pixel, a site that did allow me to stream things like rants. So the options are out there. But either way, that's going off topic. That's really all I have to say about this. The only other thing I have to say is a pretty petty thing, but I'm just thinking after seeing this whole situation how annoying it is going to be to search for new games in the genre. Because, you know, if people are changing their descriptions, changing their title, and not really showing everything that their product is, it's going to be hard to get a good feel on what these games are. So hopefully creators will find other ways to advertise their product. Maybe, you know, posting more often on forums with demos and such, or maybe even just getting a good word of mouth going. Either way, quick summary of all this: Patreon's changing, hopefully it doesn't change too much. All you can do is really try to adapt to the situation and just keep an open mind and open eye out for other services, and hope that things improve in the long run. Either way, that's all I've got to say about this. Leave a comment on your opinion on the situation. Tell me maybe if a product that you follow or support was affected by this. And I'll see you guys next time. Later.